Here's Camilla.
Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag right here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For all. We're going to be starting off in just a bit, but I'm welcoming the first and important announcement by Bob Burke.
Good morning, Democrats!
I need that chair. That's why we take off.
So we're going to try and keep that blue wave rolling. We are in the middle of a special election. Ash Marwa is our candidate. We have badgered all of you probably all year to re-enroll in voting by mail. Those ballots were mailed Thursday, and you should receive them soon, if not already. One young lady I talked to earlier this morning said her ballot will be delivered today. There's going to be only one candidate, Democrat, against the Republican for Florida Senate. The early voting for that is the 29th of November through December 6th, and of course election day is December 9th. We're also going to have a golf cart rally starting at Evans Prairie at 9:30 on the 18th, and we'll caravan over to the elections office. As before, they will meet us in the parking lot. So that's all great news. The other piece of great news is that we're going to have a second special election immediately following for our Florida House seat. Our representative resigned to take a position in higher education, being college president. And so that election is going to be in January, the primary, and the election is going to be in late March. So if you say, well, we just had a special election, you're absolutely right. So we're going to have one in December. We're going to have a primary for the next one in January, followed by an election in March. So let's keep that big blue wave going. And what we're trying to do is keep Democrats energized and let the Republicans think that they have this in the bag. We are not trying to publicize. We want to let them think that they've got it. We're not going to poke the bear. We're just going to try and catch them by surprise. So with all your help, we'll get this done.
Thanks, Bob. As I look out to the back, we added another row for this meeting, and I see that we have to grab some more chairs. No, that says something about what Trump is doing to turn out Democrats. With that in mind, Rick, why don't we go ahead and roll with the slides? And this will be relatively quick. Just want to mention about this, the food slide that we go around to the different stores in the area. And this is lettuce, and as you can see that it spiked 25%. Remember when they were rating the ice? ICE was rating the lettuce fields of California. Well, do you see lettuce backing down in price-wise? No. This ripples through to all the restaurants. Every place they have a salad, think of what their cost structure is doing. Okay, so if you think that there's going to be lower prices from Trump and his agenda, you may want to think again. After this past Tuesday, Pence is not the current vice president. Who's the president, the vice president now? Pence. Oh, thank you. My bad memory. He came out with the following statement. He said, we need to focus on the home front. Ooh. We're going to keep on working to make a decent life affordable in this country, and that's the metric by which ultimately we will be judged by in 26. So when you look at this slide, do you see prices coming down?
No.
Do you see inflation under control?
No.
Have you seen how many layoffs have been announced this past week?
Yes.
And the Bureau of Labor Statistics has not published for 2 months now the job numbers. Okay. He's the scorekeeper. Remember we talked about him a couple months ago about look out if Trump becomes the scorekeeper of the Bureau of Labor Statistics? Yeah, he turned the lights off on him. Oh, he's saying, because of the government shutdown. But somehow they're able to report other things. Okay, I don't expect to have good news on the job front. That's also the reason why the Federal Reserve lowered the prices. With this in mind, this is one of about 6 different products that we do price comparisons. If we roll to the next slide. And now, all of the prices that we do, all the products, milk, eggs, so forth, they are now on the website. And the website's name is 3 words all together. The Villages Democrats.com. Okay? And if you click on where it says news and econ, click on the econ, and it will take you to the bottom part here. And the third one down, it says grocery prices. You click on that, and the graphs, that graph that you just saw, for all the other products are there. So if you want to share it with neighbors, friends, or put it into emails, or better yet, put it on Facebook, go for it. Okay? The statement is now live, and it's available for all of us. And is Jeff here today? Jeff, can you stand up? If you want to know who makes this possible on the website, this is his man. Really does a bang-up job. He does things quietly in the background and just magically shows up. So you wonder how the website works so efficiently. And by the way, his background was not working on webology. He just stood up and said, hey, what can I do to help? And took this on and learned how to use it. So it's like, hats off.
Thank you.
Now, this is not an eye test. This is just to give you a quick idea. We pass it along the following. It's a survey. It's a survey of all of us in the club to find out what your interests are, what your background is. That way we can better match you up with different groups of folks. So say, for example, you have an interest in education or environment. We'll get you together with other people who have a similar interest. So that way when a speaker happens to be taking place in another club, you can send out an email and let you know, oh, by the way, the Democratic Women's Club is having someone speak on that subject, okay? So it's a way to cross-pollinate, if you will. And what we're going to be doing, and I think my personal thing over the next month, maybe 2 months, is to do the following. Go on to the next slide. This is an example of what we're going for. And this is to have an org chart of the club. So you can go specifically to an individual who has a background area of interest on it. And because it's been very incredibly impressive with people's new members' background, that there's a lot of horsepower here and a lot of speakers in the making within our midst. Okay, we just need to match up the right people. Get the we have SMEs here, subject matter experts. Believe me. From that, we've done some tabular tabs to find out what people's interests are. So if you look over here, we go down. We have what do we have? Oh. The marches, the rallies, golf carts. Those are what the 2 largest bars are. We've got about 75 responses. We have 1,700 members. Okay, so that's the reason we're asking for more responses. This will give us a better idea of what you want to do or be involved with. And I do want to point out that these, where it says golf cart rally, Bob mentioned about one coming up. Okay, and we're going to be transitioning more and more into doing the golf cart rallies. If we go on to the next slide, please. Now, what we're also asking people, what sort of things do you track on? What things do you like? What's your interest? And you can check off more than one. But the one that grabbed a hold of me when I put this together, look where veterans are.
Who?
Veterans. Okay, so you have women, seniors, and veterans. Oh, sorry. I brought my Swiffer pointer. Veterans. Now, why is that kind of important? Well, between the golf carts and the veterans, we were kind of going, oh, what can we do? And you never know about the creativity that's going to come about. So what we came up with was the following. Okay. You can find all sorts of different signs for the golf carts, for the golf cart rallies. And anyway, I'm going to point them out. He's probably going to be upset, but Rick here is just is the one that put this together, come up with the design on this, and within 1 week we had it designed and produced in-house. So what we're going to have is after the meeting, If you do like the sign as well as the decorations, we will have those available to you in the next room over. Okay? Alrighty, and finally, this is coming up on, as Bob mentioned, on the 18th, which will be a Tuesday, where we're turning in the ballots, okay? And we're having the golf carts meet up at Evans Prairie. And the intent is, we already have the decorations for the golf carts. So see the bunting, probably on the previous one, we have the bunting and the flags, all in a handy Ziploc bag that you can decorate your own cart with using the alligator paper clips. All right, and when you're done after the rally, you put it back in the bag and you keep it for the next rally. You keep it yourself. All right, along with the signs. That way, we don't have to do the logistics about showing up and trying to hand them out. That way, you always have the kit to have your golf cart decorated for an event. Is that cool?
Yeah, thank
So we're going to have these different signs, so you can pick and choose the signs you like, and again, we will have the signs in the room next door after the meeting, all right? Take the sign you do like, because we're going to be doing a photo op in the parking lot afterwards, so grab the sign you like, head out to the parking lot with that sign, be part of the photograph, and we'll have the decoration bags out there for you too. Next. And the last slide, once again, as Bob mentioned, it's on the 18th, I believe it is, yes? It is at Evans Prairie, which is right off of Winterson. Okay. One other thing. I've talked too long. Thank you. I'd like to bring up the rave. Oh, okay, okay, sorry. We're going to go then to...
Great photos.
Maybe, oh, here we go. Oh, okay, I got to stand in front of them.
Good morning, Democrats. We will I just want to put an aside. I went to the South Lake Democratic meeting this week, and Brian Bain, I don't know if you know, in our own area of Central Florida, of Lake County in Claremont, Brian Bain flipped the seat. He flipped it, and now their city commission is now Democrat. So, and it's being highlighted. If you ever look at the Florida Democratic Party's website, you'll see that Brian was very highlighted. So, congratulations to Central Florida. We can do it again, you guys, with Ash. So you need to pay attention, right? Okay. Tell my neighbors. Roberta and I are up here because we are precinct captains. Now, you know that the villages now goes way down south and way up north. And there's pieces of Lake County that are in the villages, not just Sumter. So what we're doing is we're reaching out to all the areas, south and north, and we're trying to get more people to become members of the Village Democrats. Right. Because guess what? What is it, power in numbers? Yeah. Awesome. So this is what we've done. For example, we make up door hangers, and I went out, my crew, pardon me. My crew went out and we did door hangers on over 535 doors. And yes, and we had a meeting, and Bill Knudsen was our keynote speaker because we're trying to sell. It's important to be part of the Village Democratic Club. That's right. It's important to get your vote by mail. It's important to know that your neighbors are Democrats, right? Yeah. So that being said, I invited all clubs, all the Democratic clubs and caucuses to our meeting, and this is a picture. I don't know how well it's coming out with all the lights on. There's a picture of our meeting on October 4th, and it was a meet and greet. We had over about 75 people there, which was if you think about numbers, if I had about 500 people, I got over 20% of the people in, right? Yeah. So, over 15. I'm not good with math. Math's not my strong suit. Go ahead. Next slide, Rick. And of course, this was Trevor Roberts. She's Mayor Pro Tem of Lady Lake. If you live in Lady Lake, she's your mayor. And if you know her, she's also the Lake County Democratic executive chairman. So she's the chairperson and so that's that. And that was Bill selling the signs, getting out there, we know we have a lot of our rallies north. Take your golf cart, get up there, be part of us. And the next picture is, we got them all excited. So there you go, that's what we expect to see you today. Yeah. And a lot of them went to the rally on, when was it, October 18th? Yeah. Whatever day that was, yeah. A lot of them went to, because we had, if you don't know, we had 2 sites and one of them was in the south, and Everglades is a really excellent site for everyone in the south to get to, and a lot of them went. I was really proud. What I don't have pictures of, that person, is I got 27 golf carts together to do a golf cart caravan to Everglades with Bill's decorations. It took us literally 2 minutes per cart to put those decorations on. So grab some for yourself because they're amazing. Next slide. I think that's it because we're going to talk about Ash, but I just want to introduce you also to Roberta. She's from the Historic District. She's going to do, if you live up north, you're invited. It's going to be on the 22nd of November. Is that a Saturday?
22nd, it's a Saturday.
Saturday at 9 a.m. at what place?
At Hacienda Rec Center.
At Hacienda, so if you live near there, she has a door hanger. Go see her, she's at the Lake County table. Even if you're not in Lake, she wants you there because power in numbers, everyone. Have a great day. Go ahead.
I participated in that meeting, I tell you, and I was blown away. I've been into a couple of precinct meetings in different parts of the country, but never seen something put together so professionally. So highly, highly recommended. They definitely have a winning proposition. And there's one thing to have a sign rally, there's another thing to have golf carts driving around. But really what makes a difference is when people get to know each other, and that's when they get to know each other, is through the precinct walking, somebody knocking on the door. What we'd also like to do, especially with the golf carts, if you happen to live in an area where they're doing precinct walking, is to get your golf cart and just drive around a couple blocks where people are knocking on the doors. Again, it's the numbers aspect of it, it reinforces it, and again, it's a positive message that we're out there. That everybody is not, Democrats are not alone. That's the message. Okay, is Sue here for, oh, come on, Sue.
Which one?
Oh. No. We're going to talk about the holiday party. Okay. Sue does not have any slides. Sorry, guys. But anyway, she'll talk about the Christmas party that's coming up very shortly.
It's starting to look a lot like Christmas. And don't worry, my husband urges me not to be a professional singer, and our band will be much better. I'm looking to get with Jeff after the meeting so we can get the tickets available online. I was in the final head count on the 14th of November. I'll be available to purchase tickets after the meeting, and also you can mail a check to me. Any questions? It's November 21st from 5:30 to 9:45. There's dinner and a band. At Ezel?
Yes.
Ezel. Rec Center.
How much?
Any other questions?
How much? How much?
$45 per person. It's good band. Actually, we had Grand Slam Band last year, for those who recall. We couldn't get them, and they recommended this band. So I'm sure we'll be pleased, or I'll be dead. Any other questions? Thank you, Bill.
Bill, Amy, what's going on? We're going to be going into Ash, but I just want to mention something that I happened to read about, try to find the bus here, hang on. I don't know if you heard about the Virginia 66 the districts that, this past Tuesday's election, there was one in Mississippi that was dealing with the Democrats were able to break a supermajority in the state Senate by flipping 3 seats after 13 years. It can be done, and guess what's coming to our community soon?
Yeah.
With that in mind, I'm going to do the folks who are also on the board of directors of the club will do an introduction for Ash. Amy, thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill. So Mississippi needed to flip 3 seats. We need to flip 1 seat. Woo! We need to elect Ash. So, as you heard earlier from Bob, there's a special election coming up the 9th of December. You still have time to request your mail-in ballot. And of course, you definitely have time to vote early or to vote in person on election day. I'm going to give you a little background on Ash. He's a villager, a member of this club, so he's one of us and he's going to be a great senator. Many of our fellow Democrats don't even know we have this special election that the governor conveniently tucked in right between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So tell all the Democrats you know, tell no Republicans. Because this is going to depend on Democrats showing up for us to get the job done. So about Ash, he's a civil engineer and has an MS in engineering from Carnegie Mellon University. He's very knowledgeable about road and bridge construction and environmental issues, all of which gives him a great perspective on issues related to Florida. He'll talk about what those issues are. He's been doing volunteer work all his life, and he sees his election to the Senate as a great continuation of what he's been doing. Now, to talk about that legislature and flipping it. As of late 2025 now, the Florida Senate consists of 40 seats. 26 are held by Republicans, 11 by Democrats, 1 by an independent, and 2 vacant seats. Our district, if the Republicans get it, would represent the 27th seat for them and give them a supermajority. Right? If they have a supermajority, they won't have to listen to us at all. They can make or change Senate rules, they can pass bills, they can even override the governor's veto as if. So all of that makes it so important for us to show up and do this not just for our district, but for Florida and the Democrats and the people who need the Democratic policies in place throughout the states. So now Phyllis has a little more to share on Ash before he comes up and speaks to you personally.
Thank you. I am Phyllis Leopold. I'm proud to be the Vice President of the Villages Democratic Club, and I always say I love to breathe blue, and we just got bluer. It's great to see you this morning. I have 2 minutes to put an idea in everybody's head, and the idea is this. Ash is running for office. We're very lucky to have Ash running. And you may have seen some of his policy statements on Facebook and in other places. All kinds of subjects, which is a little bit long for me to go into now. So I want to tell you why I am most interested in Ash winning, us really getting out to vote or voting by mail, by way of one brief story. So I had this little backache. Can you relate? Little backache. And this backache is coming and going and coming and going, and then I had COVID. And I had to spend 4 days in bed, backache went away. So I was like, oh, this is good. You know, I'm gonna go out and play golf. And you know, just to make it feel better, I think I'll go to the gym and walk on the treadmill and stretch my back. Well, after that little treadmill experience, I could only walk 10 steps. It was almost excruciating levels of pain. So the next day, the doctor luckily swishes me in, gives me a shot, and she tells me it was this joint that I had, an extremely inflamed joint that was screaming at my body, and I had to take it easy. This one joint made my entire body bedridden. I was on ice. I was on Patty's heating pad. I was just in bad shape over one joint. Ash wins, and he breaks the supermajority by one person in the Senate. In regard to all of the policies that are in our interests is why he's running. Remember your joints. Remember that one little splinter in your finger that can make your whole hand hurt. One person can make that huge change for us. Thank you.
Here's Ash.
So how did you like the blue wave last Tuesday? Let's continue that on December 9th. Let's win this one, and it is doable. Vote. Please vote. Make sure your neighbors vote. Make sure your friends vote. In this election, District 11, last year, 101,000 Democrats voted. This year, we need 50,000 votes and we can win this election. Wow. That's what the number. The Republicans, for some reason, and I cannot explain what, they are not voting. In the primary election, which was held for Republicans September 30th, the total votes were 28,322. We don't expect 50,000 Republicans to vote in this election, in the general election. If we can get 50,000, we can win this election. And on top of that, a fun fact. I'm running against a doctor. He's a dermatologist, makes about $15, $20 million a year. He's really making a killing. But he got caught in Medicare fraud. And he paid $2.3 million to get out of it. Okay? He's making $15, $20 million and he still got caught in the fraud. Alright? Now, I want to ask every Republican who votes for him, are you going to vote again for a mini Rick Scott? Just maybe, that's why the Republicans are not voting. And on top of that, Dr. Masulo, his name is Dr. Masulo. Dr. Masulo, he wrote a letter to the villagesnews.com. I don't know if you all saw the letter or not, but basically his letter said, I am not a crook. This is what is happening. What I want to do is make life better for Floridians, for all Floridians. If we can lower homeowners insurance costs, and I have a definite idea, have a non-profit insurance company cover hurricane losses for everyone, and then your own insurance covers fire and theft. And if that happens, your premiums will drop like a rock. The healthcare issue is a big fight going on in Washington, D.C. By the way, today's Daily Sun has the headline, the Republicans refuse to reopen the government. Today's Daily Sun, most conservative newspaper, and it said the Republicans refuse to open the government. That's the heading today. Healthcare, I want to expand Medicaid in Florida because a lot of people are going to lose their insurance, healthcare, because they will not be able to afford. When these subsidies go away, the premium double, like about $1.5 million will not be able to afford. We need to expand Medicaid.
Yes. Yeah.
One other thing Dr. Masulo is involved in, he was in the House for 8 years, till last year. He was the chair of the Education Committee 3 years ago, and he started the voucher program in Florida. The voucher program is taking $2.5 billion out of the public schools right now. And I can go on describing what all is going on, but it is full of waste, fraud, and abuse. And I told him, and on the forum with League of Women Voters, I expressed that view right there also, that we have to stop this voucher program, because it is giving $8,000 to 250,000 students in private schools who never went to public schools in the first place. So it's like, 250,000 kids in private schools come 3 years ago. The state of Florida says, oh, we're going to give you $8,000 gift. Well, who's going to deny it? So what is happening is when you pay your taxes here, your taxes are funding those kids in private schools. And we have to stop that. We have to take care of the environment. And by the way, this is a sad story going on right now. In Bushnell, the landfill is stinking, it's making people's eyes water, but no one seems to be able to do anything about it. And I suspect, because there's a Senate committee that oversees environmental control and environmental protection, and that's why nothing is getting done. I contacted the Department of Environmental Resources, but they're not moving. But in the meantime, people in Bushnell are suffering. There's another thing going on in Suncoast Highway. They're building the Suncoast Highway, but it's going through Florida springs. These are the springs that discharge clean water, millions of gallons every day. It got so bad, they were digging, the highway department, their bulldozer got stuck in the water. For a week, and I have photographs, I posted photographs on Facebook. It took a week for them to bring a big crane to get their own equipment out of the water. And right there, they want to dig up 300 plus acres to get sand for the highway. This is unbelievable what's going on. But the environmental laws in Florida are very weak. We have to do something about it. And I hope if I get elected, I will have an opportunity. And there is a real chance in this election, once again. Last year, 101,000 Democrats voted in this District 11. And we lost the election because 229,000 Republicans voted. So that's why I said, if we can get 50,000 votes, we can beat the Republicans. We can have the seat and break their supermajority.
Comes up here. I just want to say, does anybody remember just about 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay, the No Kings? Well, the person that really took the lead on it, who made it possible, is in the yellow shirt walking up here now. And one of the key things is she was one of the key people that did a fantastic job. Hats off to her, big time.
First of all,
we heard you say that day that you wanted to do something else. When's the next event? And we promised we would do something in November, and we're coming through with that promise. Let me just mention that the No Kings Alliance announced that it's not going to do any more national events this calendar year. So they said, local folks, you need to do something. And here's what we came up with. You all have on your seats this little Giving Thanks rally sheet. I want you to please take a look at that. What we decided to do is we're going to have smaller rallies in 5 sites. Now you might ask, why are we going to do 5 smaller ones rather than 1 big one? And I'll tell you why. We made it onto the national news, did we not? We didn't get very much local coverage, but it might be because if people didn't drive by that particular spot on Morris Avenue, we didn't have it. They didn't see it, we weren't there. So what we're going to do this time, we're just going to the 5 major big thoroughfares. We've got 441, we got 466, 466A, 44, and Marsh Bend. So we've got major roads, lots of people go by there. We stand out at those sites, and more people are going to see us. More people are going to get our message. So what we need, though, is for you all to participate. It is Thanksgiving weekend, but you got family coming in, bring them along. What a great thing. It's only 1 hour in your weekend. You're going to be out shopping, you're doing something anyway. So come that Saturday, November 29th, 9 to 10 at one of those sites. Now, we need people to volunteer. I will tell you that the northern site and the southern site have very active people who are already recruiting people. We need people for the middle part of the villages to get out there and act. So we need people to sign up. That's number 1. Number 2, we need volunteers to help with our Burma-Shave signs. Remember I talked about Burma-Shave last time? Those signs? Well, we have an example to show you. Now, I'm going to ask you to read along with what these signs say, and I can't see them, so you're going to have to do it. So number 1, it says, no, yeah. Read it. To have your own signs. We've got some signs that are going to be passed, where are they? The back, who's got them? Back of the room. We've got lots of signs. You can get those signs and take them with you, just like Bill said. You can take them and keep them with you. So, how many of you are going to sign up? All right. Who are the people who got the sign-up sheets? Stand up. We see them? All right, we've got some more. We'll have some more up here. Please sign up. You can also go to mobilize.us soon. Thank you very much. See you. October 29th.
Once again, I cannot thank Lorraine enough and her team for making the rallies that we've had so successful. Big time. Big time. And by the way, when you show up at these rallies, if you're in a golf cart, what really looks nice is to have the red, white, and blue, the triangles, and then put a sign on the back. Because especially that sign lets people know that you're Democrats. That kind of helps.
Yes.
So, anyway, I am introducing our speaker of the keynote here, and his name is Mitch Emerson, and I will be very short simply because he's offered to do a Q&A afterwards. Mitch is currently working on with the coalition of groups in the opposition of the midterm redistricting. Come on up, Mitch.
Thank you. A couple of notes. First, if we have time, I'll try to be quick, but I'm currently also working on Medicaid expansion. Florida decides healthcare as a ballot initiative to get on the ballot in 2028, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And I'm happy to stay after and answer any questions on any of the things I'm covering today, but I want to focus on redistricting. So, first and foremost, there should be some clipboards that are going to be circulating throughout for sign-ups. If you can start passing those around for folks to sign up. I'll talk a little bit about what that's for. For right now, as I get into it, if you're interested at all in participating in any events or any actions around districting, please just sign up. It's not a commitment to anything specific, but I'll get into why that is in a moment. So, first, everyone's aware of what's happening around the country with districting, I'm assuming, and we all saw the great results from California with Prop 50. Always a fan when the minute the polls close, they say, it's done. We don't need to wait. Everyone go to bed. So with that said, Florida is one of the last states that is going to be addressing their attempt to redistrict midterm, right? This is happening in Texas, Louisiana, Indiana, Missouri, and each of these states are picking up, a seat here, a seat there. In California, hopefully following Prop 50, we'll have some opportunity to respond in kind. One important note for Florida. Our districts are already very gerrymandered. But according to the head of the Republican Party of Florida, they're looking to try and pick up 3 to 5 seats. And part of the reason we're going to be one of the last ones to go is, I'm sure they're just going to do the math and see how many do they need to keep the House. So with that said, on December 2nd, this is the first thing for this, we're going to be having a event, a press conference, and going up to Tallahassee to sort of kick this off, similar to what you saw in Texas when that was first getting started and trying to get underway. It's really important that we have a very large showing, primarily because every day in the modern American world, there is a major crisis. Do you want to just pass that out and I don't know if they get the pens?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. There is major events, all of which demand our attention, right? Fact is that they are kidnapping people and deporting them to countries where they're not from, let alone deporting them to countries where they might not have ever lived since they were a child. And they're doing terrible things constantly. The fact that the government is shut down and over 40 million Americans are not going to receive SNAP benefits. The fact that the ACA premium tax credits, which I could go on about for a while, but one quick note on that, with the loss of those premium tax credits, right now, 1 in 10 Floridians don't have health insurance. Florida is far and away, not per capita, just total numbers, has the largest signups through the ACA portal in the country. 51% of them make 138% of poverty or less. So a single mother of 2, as it stands today in Florida, can't make more than $7,177 a year and qualify for Medicaid. Right now, that mother might be getting their insurance through the ACA thanks to the premium tax credit, right? So that would raise it to about $37,777 a year. Again, 51% of people make less than that who are getting their insurance through the ACA. With the loss of these tax credits, they're going to see their premiums go from $100 a month to $200 to $300 a month. If you're making $25,000 a year, that additional cost is groceries, rent, living. So lower people are going to go off of health insurance. And the current estimate is we're going to go from 1 in 10 to 1 in 5 Floridians being uninsured. Over $5.3 billion a year in uncompensated care costs that's going to be taken up by the hospitals and through our tax dollars, because again, someone goes to the emergency room, it's not the hospital that pays for it, it's tax dollars that has to go to it. It's going to be a catastrophe in this state. All because the government is shut down, all because of the administration and the current parties in control of the House and the Senate. So they are doing this redistricting effort in an attempt to break the system, to make sure that they can still push forward with their agenda. One thing I want to note though, and it's a very rare time I get to say this, Florida is actually in a better position than a lot of these other states because, does anyone here remember the Fair Districts Amendment that passed 2010? So, in Florida's Constitution, it is, you can't draw congressional lines for partisan reasons or to protect incumbents. Do they do it? Sure. But in this instance, they have to go back and whenever we have our census and we draw the lines, they have to go back and forth in court and argue that's not what this is motivated by, this is for whatever reasons they make up. Midterm redistricting is only done for partisan reasons. There was no court order, no one found them to be unconstitutional. The maps that we currently are working under were drawn by this legislature, the current legislature. They were signed into law by this governor, and they want to redraw them, which means the only reason they're doing it is for partisan gain.
Yes.
So, we need to make sure that we are going up there, getting this message out, and getting a lot of attention on this issue, because I know that there's a lot of crises happening, but this one is going to have enormous effects for not just Florida, but the whole country. It's going to come down, as always, to Florida and what we can do here to stop the madness from spreading. So, what I want to talk about is we're going to have, for the sign up that we're getting around here, and there will be some follow-up emails I sent to try to get out in your newsletter. Please make sure to share the sign up with others. You can send them a link. There's also going to be some toolkits that will have talking points, things so you can connect with your state rep, senator, and emails to send, and a lot of helpful advice and things to do there. But what's really important for this is that we are putting pressure on them because it is not a popular issue. They are aware of the results that happened on Tuesday. We want to make sure that we are putting pressure on these state house members, on these state senators, and saying, we do not want this and we will hold you accountable if you support in this effort. So we want to make sure that we are pushing constantly. This is going to be an ongoing thing. So December 2nd, first big event that we're going to have in Tallahassee. As we are getting folks who are signed up, we'll follow up and see who is able to attend. We're going to provide buses for anyone who wants to go. We're going to have buses that come from here. We'll have buses and food and all that stuff. But the amount of buses we get depends on how many folks sign up. But I can tell you this, I've done a lot of events here. We did the second gentleman. I know that you all can turn out. I know that people here show up. The more we get for signups, there is no limit on how many buses we can get here, and I would love nothing more than to have a huge caravan of folks coming from the villages to go up to Tallahassee.
It's December 2nd, right?
That's December 2nd, yes.
Okay, what time? What time?
So,
Is that what that
we're
means?
figuring out the details, but we'll have the details as we get them out. I think the press conference would be at 11, so we might have to have the buses leave at 8, but we will figure out the logistics as we get closer, because again, part of it is, I have no idea how many folks want to attend, so if it's 100 versus 1,000 versus whatever, we'll have to figure out some of those logistics. But there's another piece of this too, if you're signing up. Let's say you can't go on the 2nd, but you still want to attend an event in the future. And I'm sorry, this can get kind of boring for folks, but I've been doing politics a long time and I'm in the real nitty-gritty wonky space. So the State House has already formed a special committee where they have a supermajority. It has 8 Democrats, 3 Republicans, or sorry, flip that. Wasn't that funny? 8 Republicans, 3 Democrats. And they're going to start having committee hearings on this. Again, if you saw what happened in Texas, that's when we need voices of the citizens to come up there, testify, explain why this is wrong, and go and be in their face about it and put pressure on them. In Florida, we might have a week, 3 days notice of when those hearings are happening. So if you sign up, what will happen is we'll send out text, email, make phone calls and say, hey, this is happening on Thursday. Can you attend? And then we'll be able to have that rapid response. They do this on purpose to try and keep us off our game, to make it so that because Florida being the size of Florida, they know it's going to be almost impossible to get folks from Miami to come up there. So we want to make sure that we are getting as many folks up there as often as possible to be seen. To the point earlier, when you all show up, it does help with getting national news coverage and getting attention to the idea that everyone is upset by this and is motivated to take action. So it is really important that we're doing that. Following December 2nd, not only will we need to be doing rapid response around committee hearings, but we're also going to be starting to coordinate events to go in district to folks' offices and go into your state rep, your state senator, and telling them this is wrong, we have talking points in there, and we're saying like, why are you doing this? And just keeping the pressure on them constantly, because I promise you, the state legislature is doing this because they were told to. The Republican delegation, members of Congress don't want this either, because when you gerrymander a district, it hurt, for them. If you have a very safe Republican seat, but now you're gonna have to gerrymander and pull, Democrats out of Max Ross or Darren Soto's or whoever's district, it makes their seats more competitive. So there's a lot of animosity right now between the Republican Party. They fall in line because they have their leader. Yeah. But we can put a lot of pressure on them, and the difference of saying, okay, we're not gonna go for 5 seats, we'll go for 1. Or the difference of saying that we are getting the word out there and getting our messaging out that this is purely motivated for partisan reasons is also going to help throughout this process and for whatever comes out. So we want to make sure we're doing that. There's going to be a lot of different events. We're going to be, having phone banks. We're going to be doing canvases. We want to just make sure that we are getting the word out. This is very, very unpopular, and we want to make sure that we are trying to break through the constant noise, because gerrymandering, drawing districts, it seems very in the weeds, but everything that we've talked about, from SNAP benefits, ACA, what's happening with ICE and immigration, all of that comes down to who is elected, and if they are picking their voters, if they're drawing their own districts, they are rigging the system against you. So we want to make sure that we're out there putting the pressure on them and having a lot of these events. So please, please sign up, because the other piece of this is for planning logistics. But if we know we have more people, it's also very helpful to go to donors and say, hey, the village has got 1,000 people signed up. We need this. We need to make sure we have the food, the buses, and everything we need, and getting the funds we need to be successful. With that, I guess I can open to questions, or I can talk about Medicaid expansion for an hour and a half. I won't, I promise.
Thank you for your speech. At the start of your talk, you threw out a lot of statistics about insurance and stuff. What are your sources for those statistics, and why do you trust them?
Kaiser Family Foundation and the Congressional Budget Office, and the chair of Florida Decides Healthcare works for the Florida Policy Institute. Her whole job is healthcare statistics. That is all we do. So we trust those because it's a fact. Frankly, again, we're 3.7 million people would benefit from Medicaid expansion from this. Some of those facts, like the 51% of folks that are enrolled in the ACA make less, 138% of the poverty level or less. It's just publicly available because they have to put those stats out. But a lot of that information, to me, I'm nervous it's going to be low. Because one of the other things that they did, I won't call it the big whatever bill, HR 1. When HR 1 passed, it also shortened the open enrollment period, right? And previously, if you got your health insurance to the ACA, you were already getting insurance. When the next year came around, unless you wanted to switch, you were automatically re-enrolled and have to go through the whole process again. Now you have to go through the whole process every year. So a lot of folks are going to think they're going to get automatically re-enrolled, and they're not. I cannot stress, I've spent the past year traveling around the state talking to hospitals and CEOs. We've had, it was 4 hospitals across the state closed in the past 3 years. Right now, I just did a roundtable with Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz in her district and the hospital CEOs from her district. They were saying, and this was the lowest number of their revenue that comes from these premium tax credits that we're losing, is 20% of their revenue. With the loss of that revenue, so this is, Broward County, It's not the same as rural counties where they're going to be absolutely devastated, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But for them, what they're doing is not looking at hospital closure. Instead, what they've already done, they just already had to make the decision to do this once the shutdown happened and they realized they weren't going to get these tax credits and they were losing a fifth of their revenue. They're not doing any new projects. So there was one hospital that was adding a whole new wing. They've been going for years getting the permits and doing all of the work. Got a whole new wing for mammograms and breast cancer, right? And they were trying to do that because they have a lot of issues with long lines and all of this stuff. That whole project is dead. They just cut it already because they don't know that the funds are going to come, so they're just shutting it down. It's going to create longer lines, lower insurance, and all of this because of the loss of these ACA premium tax credits. So, yeah.
Undiagnosed.
Do you know the number of people or the percentage of people that are receiving Medicaid or receiving it to pay for nursing home care?
So, I can get back to you with an actual percentage because I don't want to quote me wrong, but I know that it's very high, right? It is very, very high. And again, one other thing on the note, because I always give the single mom statistic that I have that memorized, but one of the other ones is if you are an adult over the age of 26 and you do not have a disability, you cannot get Medicaid in the state of Florida, period. It's $0. You can be homeless on the street. You do not qualify for Medicaid as an individual over the age of 26, period. So the amount of folks we've been talking to, we have a lot of stories around this where, folks who are taking care of their parents, at-home caregivers, things like that. People have to make decisions of, do I want to try and work more to have funds for groceries or rent? Or is it worth it just to keep the health insurance and not work anymore? And the idea of expanding, again, Medicaid expansion was part of the original ACA to close that coverage gap. And the only reason we didn't do this was also purely political. Fun fact, of all people, when this was first coming out, Rick Scott was actually a big proponent, wanted to do Medicaid expansion until the marching orders came down from then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and said, no, anything with Obama's name we're in opposition to. And because of that, sorry, I don't want to take too much time to do this forever, but Florida's a donor state federally, right? We pay more in federal taxes than we get that. Every year since 2015, because we didn't expand Medicaid, Florida has lost out on $4.5 billion every year that our tax dollars are going to New York, California, wherever, that they have expanded Medicaid instead of coming back here to help fund our Medicaid program. Once the premium tax credits are lost, starting in January, when we see this huge cliff, and there's going to be a lot more people, it's estimated about 3.7 million Floridians, that's $10.5 billion every single year of our federal tax dollars that we're not getting back and are instead going to other states that have Medicaid expansion. So, again, this is something that just makes sense, keeps people alive, it keeps hospitals open. I mentioned briefly the rural hospital. I talked to a rural hospital coalition. In the Big Bend area, right now, the average commute to an emergency room is about 45 minutes. When some of these hospitals close, and there's a few hospitals that are in that area that are already facing closure, and they said it might not be next year, but if the Medicaid expansion doesn't come, they're going to close within a year or two. The commute time to an emergency room could be an hour and a half or more. I don't care how good of insurance you have. If it's an hour and a half to the emergency room, people are gonna die. I can't stress this enough. I've been doing campaigns a long time, and I always have this thing I say to staff as we get closer to the end and everyone's feeling tired and we've been working so hard about. This is a real life or death issue. It's not just an election, it's not campaign. People will live or die. Gore wins instead of Bush, people don't die, right? If we don't have Hillary Clinton win instead of Trump, a lot of people don't necessarily die, right? Like, these things have consequences, and this one in particular, we can point right to. It's not hypothetical, it's not what if, it is 100%. People are going to die if we do not expand Medicaid, period. We're also losing, with the loss of the ACA premium tax credits and not expanding Medicaid, for the person who asked for source, again, Kaiser Family Foundation, CBO, and there was one other national research organization that did this, but 50,000 healthcare jobs lost. We are losing doctors and nurses like crazy in Florida. It is a very real problem, and they're not wanting to stay here, because even if they go to the University of Florida, go to med school, they're from Florida, and they want to stay here, it just makes more sense for them to go to another state. So the reality is you're going to have a very hard time in the healthcare industry over the next few years with the loss of these tax credits and without expanding Medicaid. So just want to put that out.
So there's a second way we can fight this, because the voting is based on previous. We can get out there and sign up people to vote. We can encourage people to get out there and vote. It depends on us to make sure that we raise our numbers so we outvote them. No matter what they do, no matter what those lines are, we will beat them.
And that is 100% true. Thank you. And to that point, we do not want this to happen. We do not want redistricting ran through. But I do try to have a idea of hope, because I always just plan for the worst and then hope for the best, which frankly, for working in Florida for politics for 20 years, turned out to be a good way to look at it. If they, as I mentioned, when they redraw these districts, that gives all the more reason to vote, because it'll make someone like, Army, who's running, it's going to make her district more competitive. But the point is, they're always going to try and make it more competitive, but enough to where historical evidence will show that we're going to lose.
Thank you, Shelley.
No matter what, we have to make sure that for this redistricting, we are putting as much pressure as possible and being as present as possible, being loud as possible. The No Kings groups, we've been talking to some of them about helping with this effort. Because again, redistricting is hard for the general public. I'm sure most of the folks here are very engaged politically, but for the general, maybe they vote every presidential and occasionally go on midterms. Getting into the nitty-gritty on this, we need to make sure that they are aware that their votes are being stolen from them, their representation is being stolen from them, and we're going to work against that.
When do they have to have the done with the tax? So when do they have to?
So when you say when do they have to, the reality is it's supposed to be by April 25th. Okay, so they have till April 25th to have maps. However, we live in a strange time as far as following the rules. So, if the governor wants and he gets the supervisor's election going forward, in theory they can do, because they did this before when there was the redistricting around the most recent census, they extended that deadline. So I don't want to stand here and say April 25th. Think about April 25th, realistically, that's when all the supervisor elections are saying we have to have this. But we don't live in a time where that, there's no,
How do people running for these seats know when there's a district going?
That's an excellent question. They have not, part of the thing is they're absolutely drawing maps right now. There is no doubt in my mind they are working on maps, right? They are working on maps and they're figuring this out. There have been no public hearings. There's been no, when there's a census, they go from county to community to have conversations about, so do you think the villages should be part of this? Or, you know what I mean? How do you think what that represents your community? None of that is happening, and I guarantee you part of the reason we need the sign-ups to make sure we can find folks for rapid response is it's going to be dragged on, and then it's just going to drop and run it through. because to the point earlier, they have supermajority. They can just run it through. And we want to make sure that we are putting pressure on them the whole time until we get there.
Okay,
This will be last question.
okay, the one thing that you don't talk about is the fact that Republicans, everyday Republicans are screwed just like we are.
Oh, for sure.
So we need to be telling them, hey, your health insurance is going away too. And talk to them about, are you being represented properly? And because when you do that, they're not in love with that guy either.
Well, no, thank you. I will say that's part of the thing. We make a point for when we're talking about the Medicaid expansion stuff to say, your federal tax dollars are currently going to California and New York instead of staying here in Florida, protecting hospitals and our doctors and keeping our nurses. Sorry for running a little long, hope it was helpful. I'm not going to stay and answer any questions, but please sign up because we want to make sure we get as many folks up there as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mitch. As we're talking about going up to Tallahassee, I kept thinking about what Rick and Lorraine are going to be screaming up for a sign that we can have up there. So let's give that one a thought. Anyway, I just wanted to say Lorraine mentioned that she could use some more signatures on her sign-up sheet, and thank you very much. I just want to mention that the signs we will have, they are available in the room next door where the coffee is, and then we're going to be going out to the parking lot with those signs to get a picture photo op. So Ash, why don't we head on out there? Join us, that'd be great, and we'll see you next month. Next month's meeting at Savannah.
Nice sitting by you ladies. Have a good